You got it to read
Yes, thank you. I just helped myself.
You get lost in that song, because it's like mesmerizing after a while.
Yeah.
What you're doing, it's just you listen to lyrics and you get kind of lost in it. Very cool.
Is that what
Thank
you
you.
heard it? That way?
No,
not
of course
intentional?
not. Of course not.
Have you been
I-
collaborating with Shalanda? We don't know about it.
I think that's a cool way to think about that song,
Yeah, and
because it's about that.
a whole record like that, a theme like that,
Yeah.
is to me, is an old school way of having a very pleasant record. Like you could put it on a record with a theme that way,
Right.
and just like have it on and just get lost in that vibe. It's wonderful,
Yeah. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. It's true.
Thanks.
Wouldn't say. Why?
She's laughing
Why is she
because,
laughing?
well,
Well, she's laughing on film.
she's laughing at me,
There's a
actually.
GoPro on you.
I'm laughing at Danny.
She's laughing at me
Why?
because I have, you see my.
You have goosebumps from the song.
Yes, exactly, that's what it is.
I don't believe that for a second.
No. All right.
Or you just happy to see Marianne.
No. Every year I go down there to play golf.
Yeah.
And you have the fairways, which are very short. Then you have the rough, which the grass is a little higher. Then you have the sides. One side's a cart path, and usually the other side is just trees or, there's an area of open land between there and houses or whatever's on the golf course.
This looks like it's gonna be good from what I'm witnessing.
Whenever, and it doesn't matter what happens, because whenever I go down there, I always contract some sort of
Poison ivy.
or whatever it is, oak or, and this year, the first day down there, I did not, surprisingly and amazingly enough, because I'm a really bad golfer, Jesse.
Okay, yeah.
But surprisingly,
Most of us are.
I did not go in the
She's
woods.
blocking you.
I see that, thank you. I did not go, I didn't know I was bleeding.
Oh, you're bleeding.
I'm bleeding, that's why she's.
That's why I'm
Yes,
looking up.
That's why she's
I
laughing.
bleed red for the show.
You're bleeding and she's laughing. Oh, I
Yes.
understand.
I was so enthralled by Jesse's song that I scratched myself.
You're having this stigmata.
I'm having, yes, a stigmata out of my forearm.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Well, you missed the first
So
nail.
is that poison ivy?
I don't know, but I do know that every year I go down there, I get this. Now, this year I did not go in the woods once on the first day. By the second day, I had this. My arms are itching, and I said, son of a gun, and I knew it. And it only it's only little blotches, like little tiny, they look like little tiny pimples, but they itch like
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Huh.
You got to pour. What can you do for that, Marion?
Rooster Top.
Pour rubbing alcohol.
That's what I do.
You know what I used
Really?
to?
Yeah.
It probably hurts. You probably should not do that.
I should put bleach.
You know what?
I'm saying that as a joke.
In the old days, people used to pour like Clorox, like bleach on that stuff, and used to
To kill it.
Oh my goodness.
and it used to burn your entire arm off. It didn't cure the poison ivy, but you were so scarred, it didn't matter.
Probably me too. Yeah. So, but I took it out of my bag and left it home and forgot all about it. I wanted
Oh.
to take it with me, figuring I would wash with that every day
Mhm.
and, get the oils off. But one of the guys that goes with us, his company provides them with the stuff you put on your skin to prevent the oils from penetrating the skin. Then the stuff to use to wash the oils off the skin. Nice.
Oh, very nice.
The thing, it knocked the camera off.
Oh, very, very
So the
nice.
floor looks very good, Art, by the way.
It
Somebody
does.
must have been here cleaning while we were gone.
It wasn't me.
So, and then he gave me this stuff for the itch in case it doesn't happen. And I put that on, and it's kind of like an alcohol-based thing.
Mm.
But I've been itching.
That hurts.
It's like
Have you ever
mosquito
taken
bite.
like Allegra or Claritin?
Uh,
Or whatever?
Roostox. I can't say it enough. It's a homeopathic Roostox. And it's for toxicity of poison ivy, venoms, anything, if a bug bites you or whatever.
Mm.
And right under your tongue will stop a lot of this.
You have that on you?
Of course not.
Yeah. Where can you buy that? Where go to a local place and ask for Roostox. And
They
what are
have it at
they're gonna
local
call
health food stores
security.
and the
Health food
homeopathic
stores,
stores. They have them.
yeah.
They do?
have them.
Yep, they have a whole wall of stuff. They come in
Really?
tiny things.
RHUS.
Okay, well then,
Confidential.
there you go.
There you go.
Russell Williams.
30C, Freetown.
Russell Williams.
You play golf, Jesse?
I've played golf twice.
Okay,
And,
that was too many?
and you know, it was, you know, I was pretty good at sports. I grew up playing sports.
What'd you play?
Soccer primarily.
Okay.
But I played baseball, hockey, whatever. But golf is tough. I mean, I could,
It's you. Everything that goes
Everything
wrong
is-
is because of you.
Yeah.
No one can say somebody fouled me or somebody put a hand in my face or they pushed me or I was interfered with.
No, it's the little windmill that keeps going around that you can't get
Even
past.
that, you
Not
gotta know
me,
when to
it's
hit it.
that.
You gotta hit it right.
That's my golf, sorry.
Thanks.
Good morning, ladies.
Oh, God. So,
I've actually played at Yasnapana once.
did you?
One of the two times was at Yasnapana.
Well, if you're gonna do that, that's the place to play.
Yeah,
How'd you get in there?
I was working at a nonprofit and one of the board members invited me.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
and I did okay. I mean, you know, when it goes, my success is if the ball goes forward. Really,
Yeah, mine
you know what I
too.
mean?
Mine too.
As long as it's going forward, you're all right.
See, when I go down to South Carolina to play golf, for me, the golf is actually secondary. It's about relaxing, hanging
Right.
out. Playing golf during the day is great and having fun, and we laugh a lot, even while we're playing, usually at me.
Yeah.
But I go with a good group of guys and it's always fun and funny. It's just, but like you said, it's tough. You wouldn't think hitting that little white ball that, is so difficult, but
Well, yeah, I mean,
you got to keep your head down, your arm in. You got to turn instead of it's
it's like 300 yards trying to get a little ball into a little hole.
correct.
It's nuts.
Correct.
Teaches you patience.
Oh, that it does. Thank you for my first aid, by the way.
Oh, that's nice.
I must have accidentally scratched my arm.
It's because I have a white leather jacket on.
You don't want to bump into me. By the way, peroxide takes blood out of
I mean, because
everything.
if I
Oh,
ever
it
get
does?
stopped on the way home, I don't want to have your DNA
My DNA. And
on my way.
part of a trafficking operation.
Wonderful.
That's right.
Good morning, ladies.
So,
That's the second time you said that.
Sure.
Oh, is it?
Trying to get that joke out, but
so you've got this album.
Yeah, dude.
It is called "I Gave You My All."
Yep.
When did 2015 you put this out? Yeah, it is time for another one. What are you waiting for?
I'm looking for time. But it's just, I pushed that record hard and, I worked full time, got married, bought the house. I mean, things have been busy
is that
and
what,
that's okay.
is that what your record's about, though? I mean, you have things to write about.
Well, that's, sometimes you got to live a little to say something. I have something to say.
I
You know what I
agree.
mean? And I wasn't looking to force anything out. And that may be a little bit of an excuse, but.
No, I
Yeah.
think that's a good excuse if it is indeed one.
Mm-hmm.
You said that. I have to tell you what I did on Friday. I was offered the opportunity to interview Danny Wagner, who is the drummer of Greta Van Fleet.
Oh, I like that.
Okay. And so I had to do it at 2 p.m. from Carolina. And I said to the kid, because he said they all write tunes. I said, look, you guys are all young. A couple of you have only been out of high school for like a year, if that, not even. But yet you're taking the country by storm. I said, how do you write your music and what do you write it about? What is it based on? I said, because don't take this the wrong way, but your oldest member is 21 years old or 22 years old. You really haven't had much of a chance to be screwed over yet in life.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I realized that. I also thought, well, being in this business, you're going to find that out real quick too.
Sure.
I kept that to myself. But and then I found myself thinking to everybody, even everybody in this room, all of our problems are huge to us,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yes.
And I used the example to him of, I said, I know people who, if they're, 2 minutes late to an event, they're like, I can't believe it. I had to wait at this one light 3 times. It was, oh my God, what a horrible day I'm having.
Sure.
Tell that to somebody with cancer.
Right.
So to me, I find it's all perspective
Mhm.
and one's perspective. So whatever they've gone through and whatever they write about at the age of 21, 22 years old, you know, to them, I guess, is huge. To us, all of our problems are our own. So,
Mhm.
do you see what I'm saying there, Mr.
Yeah,
Shannon?
interesting though. I wrote a song. It's really interesting. I mean, it's a long story, but when I was in my 20s, right, it was called "Why Can't I Be More Like You," and it was picked up by. I did it with Nectar, and it's being released again, and I did it on the last Fire Ballet record, and I was really amazed as a kid, the depth that I was writing about. Where I got it from, I don't know. I wasn't living those experiences yet.
Mhm.
But you'd be surprised, like what you can write at a young age. I mean, you don't even need those experiences, and you almost grow into your songs.
Sure, absolutely. They do. My songs take on new meaning.
Yeah,
As
right.
I go
I mean, so
to myself anyway.
yeah,
Yeah, I get that.
like that. I'm like, wow, okay, I understand what I wrote about, but it's funny.
And sometimes the best songs are, it's almost somewhat out of your control. I mean,
It's true. They happen.
they just, yeah, exactly. They kind of just happen.
I call them downloads. They almost like downloads.
Yeah.
You say, what am I talking about? And then 10 years ago, that's amazing because that's what I'm living right now, and I wrote about it 10 years ago.
Right.
Or say, that's or something.
Yeah, Neil Young's producer said about songwriting, when you think you stink, and which is some truth to that. You cannot.
Oh, when you think,
yeah. You
can't
cannot
overthink.
overthink it. And it's tough to do in this business. It's
Because you want to be liked by other
exactly.
people.
And then especially if you got bills to pay, and it has to sell.
Well, you got me all jumped up now over this. I wrote a song called
It's the chocolate.
Well, it's a chocolate too. But, and I think you probably would fall into this too because you're deep in your songwriting. I didn't want to release a song of mine. It was called I Don't Belong because it was like about deepest, darkest secrets. And I said, well, who's going to relate to this? And everyone relates to it. The thing is, if you write from your heart about yourself, everyone's going to say, dude, you're writing about me. It's really funny, like how that works, because it's that macrocosm, microcosm, kind of like one to the many. It's very funny, but it works that way.
Well, we're also all, as much as we're all different, we're also all very much the same.
Yeah.
We have the same makeup. We all have brains and 2 arms and 2 legs.
And similar experiences. The human
experience.
Just two?
Yeah.
Well, you want to do some more music?
Sure.
All right, what you want to
I guess we could do another live.
do? Okay.
Do that?
Whatever
Your
you want to
choice.
do.
All right. You want to hear a sappy song, or do you want to hear a song about America?
America.
America?
Whoa.
That was my first shot.
Yeah.
Our musical advisor has spoken.
This is called Blame Someone.
I like that.
If you've got no money or a place to sleep, 'cause your woman has kicked you out on the street, and your boss man wants his earnings as long as it bleeds you dry, and your government is crooked You gotta look yourself in the eye and think of all that's happened and where you wanna be. Yes, just how to make it great in this country. Well, you'll find that there's a tradition known throughout the land, started by Columbus, murdered the Indians. Yes, blame someone who looks different from you. Oh, it doesn't really matter who you choose. Just blame someone, the Muslims or the Jews, because the Lord knows that it ain't you. Well, I ain't saying you gotta create a big scene, but whatever it is you do, you gotta do it mean. 'Cause ain't no one gonna tell you your folks were immigrants too, or their folks are theirs before 'em. The ones who were the Jews. Yes, blame someone who looks different from you. Oh, it doesn't really matter who you choose. Just blame someone, the blacks or the Jews, 'cause the Lord knows that it ain't you. Yes, it's just as simple as singing your ABCs, counting your 1, 2, 3, teaching the birds and the bees to a newborn child. Oh, you'll find you feel much better when you set everything right, by blaming all of those that you don't like. And when they're all in prison or banished from our land, you'll have made your president proud. He might even shake your hand with his little hands. Yes, blame someone who looks different from you. Oh, it doesn't really matter who you choose. Just blame someone, the Muslims or the Jews, 'cause the Lord knows that it ain't you. Yes, blame someone, blacks or Hindus, 'cause the Lord knows that it ain't you. No, it ain't you. No, it ain't you. Probably you.
Nice. Jesse Elliott here on Rock on Radio. Here. Before, hold that thought, because it hit me while you were doing that song. We didn't introduce our sponsors, man.
We.
Wow.
We.
Wow. Fine. We are sponsored by Neo Zoe Health and Wellness Center. Rich Orlando's Flying Dreams. Weber CPA. Doctors Shawnee and King. Hungry Recovery Spot. New York. And by Eileen Sullivan, who is in that movie that we spoke of earlier. Bjorn. Yes.
And we have hot sauce.
Oh, that's right. And Zen Archer Hot Sauce. D.L. Byron's Zen Archer Hot Sauce. Film Festival,
I watched the trailer today.
which I am emceeing,
Very nice.
actually. So it is, and this, let's see, the movie is called, it's May 12th. The movies are Bjorn on This Day and Lorelei Rune's Requiem. They'll be showcased at the Gods of the Paradox Film Festival, along with other featured films, trailers, and other types of entertainment. There will be a Q&A panel, raffle drawings, and networking event. So bring your friends, your family, coworkers, and acquaintances because the doors open at 2 p.m. and the show ends at approximately 4:30 p.m. It is being held at the Anthology Film Archives located at 32 2nd Avenue. That's 32 2nd Avenue in New York City. And parking is across the street in the parking garage. Tickets today, if you purchase them today, there's a special offer at only $10 for adults and $5 for ages 16 and under. The offer expires Sunday on May 6th. And you can purchase them online at brownpapertickets.com/event/3378141. That's brownpapertickets.com. And you can find them there. Put in the film festival and take it right to it. If you want to buy tickets at the box office that day, they're $15, $10, and or $15 for adults, $10 for kids 16 and under. So
Nice.
should be an interesting event. I've never emceed a film festival before, but we'll give it a shot. Yes.
MCing. Is that Marianne Costelloing?
Yes. That's what I'm
It
doing.
means I'm just checking.
Yes. Correct. Correct. Listen to me. Correct.
What is on your
Oh,
mind?
my Lord.
Wow.
Jesse. Oh, I'm still way on the. I have no desire to return to work tomorrow. Now, I must say, Chocolate Eclair is not here this evening. She is on. She probably
Isn't
won't
that
be here.
amazing? You said caress, and he thinks of chocolate
Oh,
eclair.
chocolate.
Well, because you said he's going to be. You said he's going to be all wound up on chocolate. Wow. All wound up on chocolate. Didn't you say that? Didn't you say that?
It's another brand of soap that goes with the
Yes, it is.
dial.
Correct. That's right. The Dial Hand Lotion, otherwise known as Rock on Radio.
Spell it backwards.
That's right. Dial Hand Lotion spelled backwards. So tell me. Look at Jesse's face. Website, social media, how do we find you?
JesseElliott.com, Jesse Elliott Music, Spotify,
And that's
Facebook.
2 L's and 1 T in L.
2 L's, 1 T, and JESSE, as in Jesse James.
Correct. So you did this disc, and as we talked about a little more than a year ago now, and tonight before we went on the air, this disc, it's a full length. Your first one, I gave you my all. Cover, who shot the cover? Who did the photography?
Amanda Guthrie.
Okay.
Amanda Guthrie, she's not living in Pennington anymore, but yeah, she shot that.
Okay, and the cover is semi-black and white. Black and white
except for the rose petal.
background, and are you in black and white or color? I mean, because it looks like your ears have some flesh tone there.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
that's like my ears and the roses. I think are the only colors in that.
and the dying roses with the petals falling off.
Mm.
I gave you my all, and the songs on this disc are Oh, 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 I Don't Need a Reason, I Gave You My All, Gotta Get Over It, I Only Have These Chords, Can't Live Without Her, Really Good to Be Alone, She's All I'm Thinking Of, Trying to Forgive You, with that, and in parentheses, I love you.
Nice.
And we discussed that this is a record with.
In chronological order.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and right, and he put it all down that way, and it's like
It's a cohesive record.
Yeah, man.
okay, from the
Yeah.
start to finish, pretty much,
Nice.
right? So, are we past this? I mean, 'cause this is some pretty heavy stuff you got.
We got married and bought a house then.
Yeah. You know,
That doesn't mean you're past it. I mean, I know people who are still not over, their first relationship.
That's a different one then now. You're with a different.
yeah, I mean, so like I said, I had to write. No, I'm with the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See?
We stuck it out.
Oh, you fixed it.
See?
I mean, so I wrote those songs in a 2-week period, right? So I just what was going on those 2
You had
weeks
a
was
2-week
going on.
mandate.
And I was like,
It was like drunk texting.
Yeah, exactly. That's essentially what it was. So, our relationship is a lot of things. And there's a lot of love in that record.
I love that. I love it
Yeah.
because you captured a feeling over time.
Yeah,
That's what it's all
so
about.
Very short period. And that's actually a trick of writing cohesive lyrics for a record. Write them in one period.
Wow, yes, it's great advice.
Yeah.
Now, he does that in 2 weeks.
It's great advice. I mean that it's like spurts of energy.
Yeah.
But I'm in the moment.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm in the moment.
That makes your record valid because it's real. It's real. It's an emotion for that time.
Sure.
Condensed period. It's great.
Thank
Down in, when I was playing golf, one of the fellows I played golf with, he had a shot towards the tree line. He would yell out, "I need some tree love." And every time he'd say, "I need some tree love," hoping to get a good kick, every time he would say, "I need tree love," it would bang through my head immediately, like 100 times
Mhm.
over the course of the last week. True love.
Oh.
The Rich Shalanda tune.
Oh.
True love. When you wrote these,
Yeah.
do you look back on it now that you've gotten through it and think to yourself, well, kind of Dr. Philish, what was I thinking? What the heck's going on over there?
It's like a Peter Sellers as an engineer. Oh, it never ends for the word.
Mark's cracking himself up. Him, Jesse, and I are in the middle of this deep discussion.
Well,
What was I thinking about? What exactly?
Well, I mean, did you ever go back and listen to this, or do you kind of put it aside?
I listened to that record all the time.
Okay.
I still love that record. I think you can drive around. It's driving music. I think it's great. I was in love with those songs, and in some ways I still am. But I guess the issue is I pushed that record for 3 years, hard. I mean, I was out gigging everywhere from Connecticut to DC and everything in between. Every other weekend with band and no money and same songs, and so I needed to step away a little bit, and I need to write this next record. But I love those songs. I think it's a great record.
I have a question for you. So when you perform live, you tell the story. I mean, you tell the whole audience the entire, like.
Do you play them in chronological order? Is that what you're-
Well, that and just kind of tell the whole story. Listen, this is what happened and all that whole kind of thing. Is it
Yeah.
that kind of thing? Or?
Well, I mean, I want people to relate to it and not think of it so much through my eyes, like what was I going through.
Right.
But I think that and maybe that was a mistake with the record because people tend to ask me what was going on,
Oh, okay.
you know, rather than just own it themselves
Yeah,
somehow, you know, and
Got
feel it.
Got it.
So I try to let the songs stand on their own. But that said, like, you know, like Weezer's Pinkerton, right? That record's my Bible, and that's an incredibly confessional record.
Yeah.
I've been getting into Father John Misty a lot. I Love You, Honey Bear. Do you know that record?
Yeah.
Like that's a fantastic record. That's dedicated to his wife. So it's about their relationship. So it's an album dedicated of almost like laying it at her altar kind of thing, you know. I think it's a great record.
Great. Oh, that's good.
So I'm into that confessional stuff. So I don't know.
Well, these titles here remind me of, remember when you used to make mixtapes for your girlfriend?
Well, yeah,
These
that's-
titles
because-
remind me of
Because
these
it's
songs.
a cohesive idea.
And I mean that in the most complimentary
No,
way.
it
It's
is.
just like,
That's-
I'm gonna give you a mixtape. I
No,
you go
that's-
home and listen
They're
to
all
it.
cliches. I mean, there's nothing there, you know, that is not something somebody should be able to relate to,
No, that's great.
you
I
know.
love it.
But they all are kind of.
And then you end it
Emotional.
with that, I love you. See, it's like a mixtape. It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
It's like a couples thing.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, for whatever that record is, it's I think it's solid,
It's really good.
you know.
So you're right. So that's closure, and on to the next one, on to the next idea.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, you know, I'm not sure what this next record's gonna be. It's kind of, as you can see, it's a little bit all over the place.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of life experiences now, new ones
I
that
do.
can really help be creative at like between 12 a.m. and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
You get up and you start writing.
Yeah.
Where's your still up?
I was power washing the house today. Never power washed the house before.
That's what I want to do.
That's a new experience.
That's what I want to do. That's the porch. That's the whole porch.
Yeah.
But that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an experience.
No, you'll
Before
get
you
over
hit the on
that.
button, you need to do the sign of the cross in front of it.
You'll get over that real fast.
It's not fun.
It's not fun.
No, none of those projects are easy. Not one of them. As easy as you think it's gonna be.
Wow.
Like painting.
Here's my advice.
No way.
Buy a condo.
You want to know my advice to him? Move away from the power button. It's rich. Rich and a power washer, I don't know.
Now, again,
I see a trip to the ER.
this is,
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the first time to find out.
this is a perfect example of life and perspective. Okay, homeowner,
Yeah.
new homeowner.
Watch it.
Okay, Mary Ann and I are homeless. No, you know, but like, you know, of course, I live at the ranch, so I cannot, you know.
I live at a theme park.
Wow.
And petting zoo.
And petting zoo.
I don't even know what.
Anyway,
You don't want to
the
know.
perspective is, there are often times, I haven't owned my own home since 2004.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
There are simple things that people who own homes, whether it be right or wrong, they take for granted. I would kill to be able to cut my own grass again.
Really?
I would kill to be able to power wash my house.
It's zen.
Yeah,
It-
You can
it's
come
a
over
zen.
Well,
anytime.
no, that's not my house, that's your
Yeah.
house. See, but the point is, those who have it just figure, oh, God, I gotta do this again. It's Saturday, I gotta cut the grass.
No, I agree with you.
Sunday.
I agree with you.
You know,
There's totally a pride thing in it. And
I thought that's why you had children.
No, you're right. The pride thing, and for me, like even cutting grass, cutting lawn, it's a zen thing. You know.
yeah,
It's
oh yeah, it's
like-
totally meditative.
no, for me,
Zone out.
see, you're kind of missing the point here. It's perspective.
Perspective, yes.
You know, what's that old adage about, I complained about my shoes till I saw a man with no feet?
Yeah.
You know, everybody thinks that's going back to what we said before, their problems are the, you know, oh my God, this stinks, oh my God.
Yeah.
When in reality, there's somebody out there wishing they had a house to power wash.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's just a perfect example of the quote unquote, I guess you could say, human condition,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah.
You can always power
The
wash your
grass
car.
is always green.
I do. I don't even have to. I just drive it through a tunnel. Yeah, but the grass isn't always green.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I want to do some more music. What would you like?
Let's
to
listen one off the disc.
Let's do it off the disc. You're
Yeah,
curious
sure.
about this
Alright.
disc, aren't you, Mr. Shea?
I love
I've
this.
heard this disc.
Track
You want
three.
to hear
Track 3.
I gave you my
track
heart.
3?
Well,
Yeah, I gave him my all. All right.
Yeah, you know why track 3 in old school?
Oh, here we go.
was
Yeah.
always a hit of the.
Yeah, and that's the title track. So.
Oh, there you go. You did it right.
All right.
All right, you're just tuning in. This is Rock On Radio. Our guest this evening is Jesse Elliott, and this is a tune off of his debut CD called "I Gave You My All," and this here is the title track.
They're all dead.
Okay, good. So, what house did you buy in Mill Hill? What end? 1 or 200 block?
200.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm out in the park. 250 Jackson.
Okay, so you're right up by Greenwood then.
Yeah. No, I'm right there. I had the alley too.
Okay.
So I have parking in the back.
Nice.
Very cool.
250 Jackson Street.
Yeah. The Patterson House, it's called.
Yeah. Who'd you buy that from? What was their name?
Peter Hobbs Day. So Pete and Tom. Tom, I don't remember his last
God,
name.
it was Tom's last name.
Do you know them?
I used to deliver there. For 20 years, I was a UPS driver in that
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
I had the towers too, Kingsbury Towers, where the rest of my house stops.
I bought this camera
Looks good.
They love that
for
house.
broadcasting a meeting.
There used to be a really
Looks good.
good-looking girl that lived at either
It actually
38
works
or
good for this.
46. I heard she moved. Her name's Shannon. She was married.
I just gotta get it like back here.
She used to work.
The whole table off.
She worked for the landscaper down in the 100 block. Bill.
Okay.
What the hell is Bill's last name? Lived at 120 Jackson.
Okay, so
122 was my ex-wife's.
Oh, really?
My ex-wife's father's-in-law, or father's mother, used to live there. No, 122 was the Cushes. They used to live across the street from the Cushes. And this landscape, Bill, oh, that's gonna drive me crazy now. I've been out of there for 10 years, so.
Yeah. But yeah, you probably do Pete and Tom, right?
Oh, yeah. I knew just about everybody,
Yeah.
all three
Too
of
long.
them.
It's a cool neighborhood, man. Got a lot of characters. You're not gonna get what you get there in the suburbs, you know?
Oh, no.
Not a shot.
And you're within walking distance to the Mill Hill and
Yeah, and the train.
the train.
Yeah, and my wife goes to school at Blaustein, at the Rutgers Blaustein School.
Okay.
So she takes the train. So we're one car family right now. Can't beat that.
Yes. Yeah, they're nice old houses, are gorgeous, man. When I started, here's perspective for you.
So guess how much if you care, wondering, if you're wondering, guess how much a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath costs?
What they build for now?
With backyard parking, back porch, and walk space, additional walk.
Well, when I first started working there, them houses went for $70,000.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were as high as $300,000 to $400,000. So, what are they now? 180?
160. I got
Oh, wow, they fell that much. Good for you.
160.
Good for you.
Can't get that
Ready?
anywhere in Jersey.
No, not for them brownstones.
Not a shot.
No.
Drop that in Hoboken, $1 million.
No,
property.
yep. All right, Jesse Elliott here on Rock On Radio. So there you go, Mr. Shalando, the title cut.
Loving that.
Your curiosity has been resolved.
Very nice. I love that.
You like that?
Yes. Very, very live sounding. I feel like a live sounding feel.
Yeah, yeah. You know, when it was all done, I think the only money I spent on that record was the roses I have in my hand on the cover. You know,
Really?
It was all just friends and,
Nice.
you know, the guy, you know, Brian was like, I want to get back into recording, and he hadn't really done something of this size, and you know, and we just figured it out together.
Feels real. Feels real.
Thanks.
You know,
Yeah, I think so.
Brian, I've actually been on Brian's podcast. Him and
Great.
him
You
and
gotta check this out if you don't know about it.
he and Bill do the what's it, the great,
The Great Albums podcast.
Great Albums podcast. They were the number one podcast in the country
Huh?
last year for several weeks. In a
Wow.
row. And I was fortunate enough to be a guest on it. And we dissected Led Zeppelin 4. I had a great time. Yeah.
Oh,
And I thank them. I can't thank them enough because, you know, Brian knows I'm a leadhead. So,
Yeah.
but I went to a birthday party in Bordentown City
Uh.
2 weeks ago at a brewery. Imagine that.
wow.
Right there.
I know, that's good.
And
I'm watching the
you're
shenanigans,
watching the great cornholio over there.
Oh, God.
because I see the cup there, I see a phone there, a microphone, that could be a
That
disastrous
is-
combo, and I know that.
I'm knocking on chocolate tonight, boys and girls.
You've had like 3 bars
I
already.
am like zooming.
He's just gonna run behind the car anyway.
He's the great cornholio.
I'm okay, I'm just watching.
Uh,
When he starts going like Tasmanian devil and swirling, we have a problem.
So he, I went to this birthday party at the brewery, and as I was getting out of the car and walking, because we had Bordentown is very tough to park in.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was walking to the brewery, and this guy was walking with his wife, as I know now was, you know, his wife, and he walked past me, and he stops, he goes, "Hey, aren't you the radio guy?"
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm scared for 2 reasons. Number one, it's radio, so how does he see me? And number 2, I'm thinking, oh no, it's George.
What do you look like?
Actually,
I don't
no.
think George would approach you like that. Aren't you the radio guy? Yeah, close it.
That's right. You'd be like, I know you.
He'd probably do it right behind your head too, so you heard that voice and you just freeze.
That was what the guy at the bar said. But it was Bill.
Oh, okay.
It was Bill, you know, Brian's partner.
Yeah.
Gaston. And,
Bill and Buster.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's a nice guy, so we talked some shop for a few minutes, and
That's nice when that happens, right? It's nice because it validates, or not validates, but shows you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
it is
I like
I
when that
think so.
happens.
Yeah.
No,
Like, oh, I saw you.
somewhere. The,
Yeah.
You know, but you know, the funny thing about this is, like, for me, when I wrote for the Trentonian, when I did their music column for 4 years,
Okay.
it was great because I'd be out in places and people would be talking about my column. And I would just sit there and listen.
Yeah.
You know, and and I'd say, well, no, they're, you know, well, how do you know? Well, I know, trust me. You know, and I never kind of gave it away. Once or twice I did. It was really funny. One night, you know where Pete's Steakhouse is in Hamilton?
Yeah.
I was in Pete's Steakhouse and I happened to come out of the bathroom. The place is packed because my friend's band was playing there. So they were reuniting for the first time in several years.
Mhm.
So one-off deal. He needed a band. They got back together, and that was that, right? But so the places, I mean, you know, back to back.
Yeah.
Right? And I come out of the bathroom at Pete's, and there's this couple standing there. And the woman says, "This is Danny Coleman's band." So I'm thinking, is there another one? You know. So I kind of hung out next to him for a little bit. And I said, "What makes you say this is Danny Coleman's band?" "Oh, well, the owner's wife told us it's Danny Coleman's band." I said, "Oh, do you guys know Danny Coleman?" "Oh, yeah, he's the guy who writes that column for the Trentonian." And I'm thinking, you know, I've never seen these people before in my life.
Yeah.
I heard his band's supposed to be pretty good. At the time, I was playing with Mr. Lucky, the blues band.
Nice.
And I said, "Well, what's the name of the band?" "I'm not sure, but," I said, "Well, this is Driven, and it's my buddy Monty playing drums. And that's not Danny Coleman." "Are you sure it's not Danny Coleman?" So I pulled my wallet out and showed him my license. And I was like, "I'm Danny Coleman." It was like that old show, Truth or Consequences?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
I'm Danny Coleman.
I'm Danny Coleman.
I'm Danny Coleman.
I'm Danny Coleman.
Oh, boy.
What's my line?
What's my line? Remember that one too? Yeah. You know, so, you know, I've been kind of blessed with that kind of presence where people really don't recognize me.
Yeah.
From a lot of things, because when you're on the radio, nobody sees you,
Right.
apparently until now.
And you get to play tricks. You play tricks.
Yeah, you guys are on YouTube. You're on YouTube.
We're live on YouTube.
And you're in the
but-
post office too.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's why I only go in there. See, the post office is open 24/7 to get your mail if you have a PO box like I do.
Uh-huh.
So I go to the post office to get my mail, like usually on the way home from here.
Oh, okay.
It's closed
Oh, really?
and empty.
Wow. So then you take the moment and rip your picture off the wall.
Yes, and they keep replacing it.
I know. It's the one with the duct tape on.
Yes, correct. But actually, the post office where I have my PO box, for those of you who may remember, is the one that was right after the September 11th terrorist attacks in New York. Was the one that got the anthrax mailed to it.
Wow.
Yeah,
It wasn't in the Rockland Radio PO box, was
same one.
Wow.
it? No, in your actual
yeah,
PO.
no, yeah, I was there. So yeah, that was the main post office from Trenton. Used to be in downtown Trenton. Moved to Hamilton years ago, probably 30, 40 years ago now. But yeah, so
Wow.
that's where I stopped.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the only place you stop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he's going to confess to, I see.
So, okay. If you're just tuning in, our guest tonight is Jesse Elliott. And he's got a disc that's been out now for several years. It's called I Give You My All. And now that you're writing, like that tune that you played, the last one live about blame. What was that called again?
Blame someone.
Blame someone.
Yeah.
That's a very easy, I don't want to say it's a very easy tune to write, but it's a very easy concept to see everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. You know,
Yep.
it's always somebody else's fault. What made you get to that point where you had to write about it?
Well, that was another one of those. That was just one of those songs where I was trying. I had an idea of a chorus, a melody, and I kept messing with the lyrics, and I was just like, blame someone, you know. And I had like a piece of a verse. I was like, you know, the beginning of that song about, you know, if you got no money or a place to sleep, you know, kind of every person has that at some point, you know, an average person. And I figured, you know, well, half of us are of that mindset to hurt and persecute and blame, and you know, people of minority communities, people of color primarily.
I think it takes stones, basically, to write that and put it out in the public. I give you praise and applause to be able to speak your mind and put it out there and say, hey, man, this is what it's all about.
Yeah, I see that as prevalent and stark in the country right now, and it has a voice and a leader.
See,
So,
this has gone on far before that voice and that leader.
sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
Let's just set that straight.
Yeah, that's why it's
Right
a
now.
song about America. I almost want to introduce that as a history of America.
Well, let
You could.
me take you back to the time when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Okay. My grandmother worked at Trenton High School.
Mm.
Okay. I can remember my mother taking me in there at the age of like 5 years old to pick my grandmother up from work. She worked in the cafeteria and seeing 2 different water fountains.
Yeah.
Okay. I can remember,
Wow.
this was the night before the race riots in Trenton, Asbury Park.
Pretty
They
heavy
encouraged
stuff,
us-
yeah.
I can remember. I can remember a time when people took responsibility for themselves.
Mm.
2 things I think have been taught to the last 2 generations that have followed my parents and now my children.
Mhm.
I think narcissism
Mhm.
and litigation.
Okay.
Everybody sues for everything.
Mhm.
And everybody's now a narcissist because it's not their fault. There's always somebody else. I can't possibly be wrong. You had to do that. I'm wrong. I'm wrong, but guilty with an explanation, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And I think that began in the late 60s, early 70s, where people began looking. You know, you slipped and fell on an ice covered sidewalk.
Mm.
You know, it's not my fault that I wasn't being careful or paying attention. It's his fault because he didn't shovel his walk. Somebody backed into me. Well, it's not my fault I backed into your car because my windows were fogged up.
Right.
Okay,
Surge of attorneys.
exactly. You know, you want to fix what's wrong, and I don't discuss religion or politics on this show, but you want to fix what's wrong with healthcare or lack thereof, or what's wrong with this country. Start with tort litigation. Stop the lawyers from suing everybody, and start teaching the values that the country was built on again. And you know, acceptance is the key word.
Can you get back to that after this? Can you rewind the world?
Well, you have to basically undo 40 years of what's been done.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
You know,
We're far
acceptance.
we're far from the 60s.
Exactly. We're far from a lot of things.
We're far from a lot of things.
You know, but acceptance is the key. You have to accept our differences. You know, everybody wants to celebrate diversity, but you can't be diversity yet separate. You can't be diverse yet separate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
So as an artist, you being an artist, you know, and that's that tune that you wrote. That's a great tune because it's the truth. You know, there's always somebody to blame. Blame somebody.
And it's almost how the country was built in some ways.
On certain things.
I mean, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, I mean, it's, you know, it's always been an undertone of getting what you want and you know, taking
Taking advantage of others.
Yeah, taking advantage of others and exploiting others and
Yeah, it's a good word, exploiting.
and just, you know,
How does,
demonizing
how
entire cultures.
how does fear fit in that? When you exploit something, is it because, isn't there a certain percentage of fear? The unknown, someone's unknown, so you fear it, so you fight against it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, is that part of it or no? I guess not.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
like,
sure.
Like,
I mean, but like it's fear mongering, right?
Yeah, it's
it's like somebody who knows better says, well, like if you know, I want to, you know, do something over here. I'm gonna shake a rattle over here. Oh, you know, black people or so and so, and I'm gonna turn people against each other and do what I want over here. You know, or like,
but it's very true.
you know what I mean?
It's very true. It's just like if aliens came down and inhabited the Earth, we would kill them before we would talk to them because we're afraid of them.
Yeah, everybody's it's basically instilling a fear, demonizing people, and so that you're less willing to share and connect with.
Getting to know them is then the fear goes away. The racism goes away when you get to know something. When you bring something into your life and get to know it, all that stuff goes away, doesn't it?
See, we mended our fences. You got to know me, I got to know you.
Did we have fences to mend?
I don't know, but you have a shirt on that says old guys rule. I have a problem with this now.
Wow. Well, now you're against old guys.
Well, no, I just never thought I'd see you wear a shirt that says old guys rule.
You realize I'm going to be 55 in another couple months, right?
Yeah, it's like the new 30.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it's a new term.
Why do I feel 80?
Because you haven't been in for your massages.
That's
Well,
true.
massages,
She cracks her knuckles. You know, I music today,
That's a big question.
I don't even think, you know, in the 1960s, you had artists that, you know, when the 60s started, Ricky Nelson and the Everly Brothers and all the leftovers from the 50s, Elvis Presley, they were all still dominating the airwaves. And then just like Don McLean wrote, you know, the jester stole his thorny crown. You know, Bob Dylan walks in with this whole new way of doing things. And it's like, whoa, you know, couple that with the Vietnam War, which most of the country was against. our involvement. And, now you've got this whole new movement, and simply within a short number of years, music went from, the wholesome 1950s, bebop and doo-wop to protest songs and drug-induced material and album-oriented rock and roll in the late 60s.
And songs about peace, love, and understanding and coming together. And, if you talk
That
about
too, yeah.
if you talk about pop culture of the 60s versus pop culture today, there are stark differences. Where we've gone from I want to hold your hand to I'm going to sit on your face. I mean, like it's
Well, how true is that?
no,
I
but
mean,
it's true.
you know,
It's gone from like Janis Joplin, who wasn't like the prettiest person in the world, or Bob Dylan, to this people on their these high altars and exclusivity and affluence and greed, and this is mine, that's yours, and I'm going to treat you however I want to treat you. And it's crazy.
It's
how
not coming
different.
together. It's not coming together. It's polarized. Everything's
Yeah.
polarized.
Exactly. And so I think that says something. Art represents culture, right? And so the art of today is telling about our culture, whereas the art of the 60s is telling about the 60s.
I agree.
And we're far from the 60s. We could be living in one of the most conservative times in American history. I mean, we had a black president, we had gay marriage. These are all just Band-Aid kind of things, and the real disparities and belief systems in this country right now. It's crazy.
I agree. I agree.
Crazy.
Danny, I'm on YouTube, so you can see Danny going. I'm
sorry.
No, what I think really doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
No, because to me it's about the music.
Yeah.
See, I totally disagree with you, because I lived in the most conservative time in America. The 60s and the 70s.
Mm.
You couldn't, there was no such things as transgender bathrooms. There was no such things as unisex bathrooms. There was,
Right.
There were things. We have things today that, and of course the internet and social media have made things a whole lot different.
Well, pop culture too,
to
fit in with everything. I never fit in with anything.
I watched my band.
I agree. That's what I thought music was about.
Yeah.
My
Right?
Being yourself. That's
my
not
band
about-
does These Boots Are Made for Walking by Nancy Sinatra.
Great song.
Okay. Now pull up that video. I cannot believe that they allowed that video to be shown on television in 1964 or whatever it was. Because that's borderline risque. Today, it's nothing compared to what you see in music videos,
Yeah.
and on YouTube and so on and so
What
forth.
was Rowan and Martin's last thing? I mean, that was the 60s, was it not? The late 60s?
Yeah.
That's groundbreaking,
That
though.
was definitely groundbreaking.
Right.
But
And that was-
think about what that song means in terms of moving. I mean, there's a time and place for pushing envelopes, and that envelope needed to be pushed. Do we need right now for, such over the top sexually oriented, sexually driven material that's just strictly about sex and actually not treating people well? That's pushing an envelope that I feel is not good for society. Women need to walk all over you. I mean, that's where we needed to be. You know what I mean? It's stilettos.
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? That was pushing envelopes that we needed to push.
No, and you know what? And I get that. So writing material like that is cool.
Yeah.
The thing about
But I hear what you're saying. I totally hear what you're saying. Yes. Gay marriage probably wasn't possible back then.
Nope.
And you'll say
legalization of marijuana was not possible.
Yeah,
when I
sure.
was a kid.
I hear you. But the economic disparities is so much broader now than it was in the 60s. We're in terms of rich and poor, the middle class was stronger in the 60s, whereas now we're becoming more and more polarized, and institutionalized racism is a really real
Oh,
thing.
yes.
I mean, look, think about, I mean, we could go on and on about this stuff, and I don't
Oh,
know
no,
if we
no.
should, but like,
No,
just
but
think about
it's heavy.
Trenton, Newark, Camden, and what has happened to those cities, and who is living there, and who are the people in our prisons, and what we've done to generations of not just immigrant communities, but minority communities.
You know that section of State Street you were talking about where the Trinity
Yeah.
Church is? That whole row was nothing but doctors, lawyers, judges, and Indian chiefs. When I was a kid, my
Across from the
pediatrician,
State House?
and further down,
Uh-huh.
all the way up towards the park,
It's a
was
beautiful street.
was the nicest and the richest section of Trenton.
Yeah.
You know,
Those homes they're not homes anymore.
no, they're tenement slums. But,
Well, look at that. Look at City of Angels, and the reason why City of Angels exists. Is that problem worse now than it was in the 60s? I mean, drugs were always around, but I'll ask this to Art, I'll throw it out to Art. It's a different thing, isn't it? Isn't it like isn't it more of a serious problem now than it used to be, or was it just hidden back then?
well, you didn't have 24/7 news cycles. You didn't have.
It's a little bit of both. I mean, it is a little bit of both. I mean, it was there. It was like alcoholism. I mean, it was sheltered. They didn't talk about it. It was accepted. It was pushed to the back burner.
Well, it wasn't accepted. It was hidden because they were
What was-
embarrassed.
Well, I'm talking about the heroin, but the
Drug addiction,
was
alcohol addiction.
That's what COA is about, City of
Yeah.
Angels. And
Yeah.
So, all right, well, it's like 20 to 9. That'll be
You see
talking
what your
about
songs
pop
did?
culture.
This is what his songs
It's
did.
what songs-
no.
I like it.
You know what?
That's cool.
Blame somebody. This is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
started.
I was
Yeah.
going to bring that up. You see, now he wrote a tune that's affected somebody.
Yes.
That's caused people to sit around and talk about
Yes.
it. So that's good work. You get an A plus.
I
You
get
get a
an
star.
A.
You get a star.
I'll
for
say
that.
that's
I've never
good.
gotten an A.
We got to go through the kindergarten to get out of here. So, well, actually, no. we're in
But you actually
kindergarten.
hit on something. I mean, the one thing about the epidemic of today is it's in the suburbs, and that's why it is so prevalent in the news.
Oh, that's an interesting conversation. We can go on.
This is
That's the
true.
only
That's
reason
true.
it's getting attention,
This
because it's
is true.
affecting white people.
Yes.
That's the truth. That's a fact.
So, so it's your fault.
It's my
It's your fault,
fault.
Jesse, to bring this up, man. Yeah. And it's great stuff.
Thanks,
Mm.
thanks.
It's another statement. I
It's my
disagree
first,
with.
It is? No, we'll talk to
political
me.
song.
No, that's about that. I don't think that's the only reason why it's getting attention, because it's, 30 years ago, almost 40 years ago, when I was in high school, it was the white kids that were doing drugs.
I know, but once they started dying, it changed everything.
Oh, they were dying back then too, but just like you said, there was no internet, no 24/7 news cycle, nobody with their cell phone taking pictures of a kid having a
So the
convulsion.
problem always existed. Now
Now it's more, you hear about it
Hear
more.
about it.
I would just say, I would just say crack. That's my one word argument against, and nothing was done about that. Except arresting a bunch of people.
No, there are a lot of people.
A
A lot of people. I
A lot
know,
of people also died or arrested.
20
No.
years of delivering downtown Trenton,
Yeah.
and in some of the baddest, worst ghetto sections, I saw a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't just minorities, trust me. I had the hookers and the homeless greased, buying them lunch, buying them coffee, breakfast. They asked me for money, I gave it to them, and they took care of me. And I needed that.
Yeah,
I needed that down there.
absolutely.
They had my back.
protection, for
Yes,
protection.
protection,
yes,
yes.
yeah.
So that $5-10 a week or whatever,
Saved your life.
saved my life once, yes.
No,
So,
I mean, these are people just down and out. They're not necessarily bad people.
no. And the ones that I knew, I had to watch, a UPS guy giving a hooker $10 doesn't look real good sometimes.
Did you do that behind the truck?
Yeah.
I bet you got stories. Huh?
Oh, I got stories that you wouldn't
Don't
believe.
get
That's
us
why,
started. Don't get.
no, but that's why when I hear you say things like
Yeah.
that my every ounce of my skin crawls, because until you can go through
Yeah.
and see some of the things that I've seen,
Yeah.
and work with some, at my job, my current job, I'm the token white guy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
I'm the lone pillar of salt in the black community now.
Right.
So, and I have no problem with my coworkers, or
Yeah.
but there's a lot of reverse racism that goes on. I can tell you that right now.
Sure.
And but that's not something for this program,
Yeah.
but you know what? It is what it is. And
Yeah, I mean, these things are very complex,
Right.
and like
Very
we totally need to be talking about it all the
it's,
time.
and it's not all one-sided, you know?
No, absolutely.
It's
That's
not
why,
the-
but it's good to talk about it, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
sure it is.
You know, it's
Yeah.
good to talk about it. That's one of the first steps,
Mhm.
healing it or getting it
The
together.
I
point
have-
is people pinning people against people,
And that's
you
what
can't
should not be.
cannot buy into it.
But they're here, again.
Yeah.
Personal responsibility.
Yeah,
You don't have to listen to the news media. You don't have to listen to the guy writing the song. You don't have to listen to the rapper. You don't have to, you and I, whatever, it doesn't matter what race, creed, color, sexual orientation, it does not matter. If there's somebody that you care about or that you like or you befriend, none of that other stuff should matter. That's how that person
right.
treats you. That is what should matter.
That's how I deal with it, guys. I mean, my new single is called Disconnected. You know, so I'm just disconnected from all mass media, all the hype, all the garbage and stuff. I just live my life and
Really?
and do that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm unplugged. I have no TVs in the house. I have nothing on. I am
Nice.
disconnected.
yeah. I got a friend like that,
You know,
and he's great to be around.
Right?
He's like my sunshine. He
Yeah,
comes into my life.
yeah.
Totally like
Now you got two, because I haven't had a television since 2013.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 5 TVs.
Yeah, five.
Yeah, but they're not plugged in.
Then I'm the same way, and I have people that call and give me the weather forecast because I don't even know what it is day to day. And they're like, just in case you weren't, you're not in the know.
Just walk outside, Mary, and you're fine.
Put your hand down.
Like the old
Well,
school.
why don't
stuff.
we do another tune before time slips away from us here? We got, we're
Yeah.
talking all heavy duty stuff. Why are you poking?
All right, you ready to bring us down? All right, I'll bring us down.
Give us another topic of conversation subliminally.
All right, well. All right.
Now, before you do that, music transcends
Everything.
age, race, creed, color.
Oh, good music does anyway.
Well, I mean, I always use the example of during the most charged racial times in our country, the late 60s and early 70s, where there was a lot of stuff going on. Black kids didn't stop listening to Elvis Presley, and white kids didn't stop listening to Motown.
Oh yeah,
You know what
no,
I'm saying?
How
So-
important, that is so important to
Yeah.
say, Danny. That's wonderful. That's so important. It's so true.
no, it's true. My dad grew up in New Orleans. He'd go to the black neighborhood and go to their record stores because they had better records. Like
Yeah.
they had all that stuff, and he'd go there.
The old
and-
Delta
and-
Blues.
And like
yeah.
that's a whole other conversation you have about cities, like how you had white communities and black communities all living very close to, while there might have been issues between, like we were close to one another,
Yeah.
like we were living in close proximity. Now it's like suburbs versus, and it's like we're not even interacting. Anyway. We'll move on to a song that's a sappy song. It's called I Need a Girl. This could actually be turned into a Motown song called I Got a Girl, but I haven't worked that out yet. So right now it's I Need a Girl.
But I'm working on turning that into a Motown tune.
Yeah, I could. Stop. Yeah. No. It'd be an Al Green kind of. Anyway.
Okay. Going rhythm and blues.
Nice.
So.
I need a girl who never goes, always answers the phone, even not at home. I need you now more than ever. And if you're hurt, I love you. And if you're hurt, I'll always be true. I need a girl who'll always stay, never go away, always stay the same. I need you now more than ever. And if you're hurt, I love you. And if you're hurt, I'll always be true. If you're hurt, I love you. And if you're hurt, I'll always be true. I need a girl who'll always stay, never go away, and always stay the same. I need you now more than ever. More than ever. More than ever. More than ever.
Nice. Today here on Rock On Radio. That's a pretty deep show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unusual for my first night
Yeah.
back from vacation.
Yeah, I like that.
I could not have had this conversation last night.
Because you were in vacation mode.
Oh.
No, because he couldn't talk.
609-241-7103. If you want to give us a call, we can give you a copy of Jesse's first disc. We actually should have said that about 20 more times earlier.
I posted that quite a bit.
Okay, did
Oh,
you?
good.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. Thank you.
You're
for that,
welcome.
It's
Because
tough to give away.
Why?
I don't know.
what's your thoughts on that? As far as the music, I mean, I know. No,
It is what it is.
no, well, I know an artist who said, I didn't make this disc and spend all that money to not recoup that money. I know my worth, and I think that disc is worth at least $10.
Sure.
Okay. Now I know another artist who says, nobody knows who I am. I need to get my music out there so people do know who I am, and down the road they'll be buying my albums for $10. Give the music away, make the money off the merch. What you're thinking? I mean, there's no sense in getting, disc makers to print or CD Baby to make, 500 of these, and in another year you got 480 still sitting in your closet. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
I mean, I certainly don't give that away willy-nilly, but I also take what I can get for it.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to throw me $5, so especially if I'm playing with a band, if it means the guys get to eat a meal that night, then great. I don't expect to make my money back on that at all.
Right. Now I've seen,
and like maybe that's foolish of me, but it's I'm rarely getting $10 for that thing.
okay. What are your websites?
JesseElliott.com. On CD Baby. You can get on CD Baby on Amazon, the actual physical.
Or
copy.
JesseElliott.com. That's
Yeah, and you get it at but you could download it on iTunes. It's everywhere. CD Baby allows you get it on everything.
Spotify.
It's on Spotify.
There you go.
And usually you make, I know I make my money live shows, right? You sell them in live shows.
Exactly.
What's your theory?
Sure.
Feeling on that, Mr. Schlemel?
I'm learning about it. I mean, all of a sudden everyone's on me to get on Spotify playlists. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
thing, I
big
guess.
thing. And I don't make any money on that, so I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I guess I'm learning about it. So I'm pushing Spotify on Facebook and everything, any way else for people to stream different music and different singles. And I don't even know why, but I'm doing it
Well,
because
you get your name out there.
Yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
the
that's
music
idea.
industry
Right.
has changed, so Spotify is to get your name out there. And the only way you could do that is by pushing it like you are, because people don't know you're on
well, I'm
Spotify.
pushing, and then you do a live show.
That's
and
where you're gonna make your money.
you make your money, and Marianne, helps my band with merch and stuff. It does a lot of things for the band, but also does bundles. You buy, instead of buying, you buy a T-shirt, you buy a CD, you get a download card, and whatever else for X amount of dollars. You make a bargain, and you may have a pretty table, and people buy things at shows. But it's
I've been at shows where an artist will have their disc, and one guy gave it away, and it only cost a high five. Come on up, give me a high five, I'll give you a free disc.
Uh-huh.
And he had 5 or 6 people during that song come up and give him high fives, and they got free discs. I've seen other people put out the disc and right next to a tip jar and say,
donation, right? A donation.
whatever you want to give, you
Yeah.
get a free disc.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, he had 40 or 50 bucks in there. You
Sure.
know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah.
So there are ways to do it without. See, the problem is with original music.
Yeah.
Is that nobody knows what it is. That's why you can't get gigs in clubs for 4 hours playing nothing but original music unless you've got some huge, majestic following.
Sure.
That's why you've got 2, 3, and 4 bands on a bill, because they're hoping to get, each band will bring at least 10 people. So you'll have 40 or 50 people in a club like John and Peters or,
Uh-huh.
because original music, the bar owners look at it like, well, who is this guy? What's he do?
Mhm.
Can you dance to it? Can you, what's going to put these people on the dance floor so they're thirsty and they drink?
Yeah.
It's always that way. I know when I was a kid playing Jersey bars, they used to pack the place, and the guy used to dock me, the club owner, and saying, "Yeah, Richie, but they weren't drinking."
Right.
So there's always that
Tell them
mentality.
to
there.
serve salted pretzels.
No,
Uh-huh.
look, I mean, it's because it's true. Everyone's smoking, in a parking lot, before they enter the club. But the thing is, it's always been that us and them kind of thing between musician and club owners and stuff like that. Now, instead of giving away discs, I believe you should sell a disc and give away a download card, because you're not paying anything for them.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you do that kind of stuff. You be creative.
Plus,
But
it gives them your latest singles. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like if you want to put out a single, the free download card is a free gift.
well, that's another thing that Danny is about to ask, I think, about, because we always talk about this, about full albums, EPs, and singles. Like right, Danny, that's one of your things too. We like full albums, although I know that I've been doing singles lately.
Well, that's more in trend, I think, with what people want. I mean, I don't think people listen to records anymore.
You burp?
What's Art doing now?
I muted myself. So.
But yeah, I think people listen to singles. They don't listen to records. I mean, like, and I in quote. I mean, I can't put out a single, but
You can, right?
I guess I will. It's just
You do that, and then when you have 8 or 9 or 10 or 12 singles, you have an album.
Richie, you surprise me when you say that. You totally surprise me when you say that, because
I know.
when we were kids, what did you do? What did you go to the store and buy if there was a song you liked?
A single.
You bought a 45.
Yes.
Right? You bought a 45 RPM record.
Yes.
And then if you liked that, you went and found the album
right.
and you
Yeah.
listened to the band.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm interested in making records. I'm not interested in putting one off.
Yeah.
I mean,
good for you.
but
Yeah. No, that's a correct way to think.
I appreciate albums.
I'm old school because I'm very tactile, so I like to have, the album in hand, and when you're listening to it, I
Yeah.
mean, some people put lyrics in there, you follow along, or you can look at pictures if there's something while you're doing
Absolutely.
it.
I have a
So-
record collection for that reason.
And I think it puts a good energy
Yeah.
into when people buy it.
The
You know what I'm
only-
saying?
absolutely.
The only thing I think for artists today, though, I mean, they want to get the product out as soon as they're finished with it, so the public could hear it. I mean, I fall into that. So in other words, I just put out one single. When I get out of the studio in a month or two, I'll put out that one.
Mhm.
Because if I wait for the entire record to be constructed or put together, it's going to be a year, and I don't know what that one.
See, artists always used to put out a single
Yeah.
off of their upcoming album. And why was it done? To draw attention to the album. Not to just put one out now, one out 3 months from now, one out 6 months from now.
Well, yeah, and
You
I
know.
think back to the earlier point, it's hard to put out a single and another single and another single, and you get 10 songs and that be a record.
I
Because,
know.
you know what I mean? 'Cause that's not what a record is.
I
A
know,
record has
I
to
know.
be,
Cohesive.
yeah, exactly. It has to be
No, I know.
something that lives,
Right. It's a concept. It's an idea.
it's an
It's-
organism.
Yes.
Well, how about this when you sell records? Like, I'm part of the Orchard, right? So the Orchard, when they release your record, they give it away. So on YouTube, you have a video with just your album cover of every song that they give away. So how could you sell music if someone's just sampling that, just listening to that all day on a playlist? So they make it impossible for you, unless the mentality today is, let me sample your record, your whole album, and if I like it, I'll buy it. I don't know. Don't know.
Well, like Martha Davis of the Motel said to me, if people are only buying 2 or 3 songs off an 8-song album, I need to make a better record.
Huh.
So I guess it's all.
It's about gigs. I mean, at the end of the day,
It's about gigs too. Yeah, you got
you gotta get the good gigs at that.
Well, I've told this story multiple times on this show before, but our buddy Joe Sarasano.
Yeah.
He was so desperate to get his original music out and heard, and he was playing in cover bands in New York City. And the club owners told him, no original music. Nobody knows what that crap is, and nobody wants it, So what he started doing was, in the third set or later in the night before closing, he would start introducing his own material as, this is a new song that's going to be on the upcoming Bob Seger album. This is a new song that's going to be on the upcoming Eagles album. And he'd play his own material.
Uh-huh.
Club owners caught on, but at that point, he still had people loving what they were doing, so they kind of looked the other way.
Yeah.
And that's the key, is to get people so into your music that, there's, our friends in Honey Spot Boulevard,
Yeah.
right? Rusty and Terry,
Yeah.
Jessica, Bill.
Yep.
They're the only, them and Charles Loretta
Yep.
are the only, and Ernie White are the only bands that can get away with playing the majority of original music in this area
Yeah.
and play it at the clubs, because people come to see them because they have such huge followings.
Mhm.
And so they could play the Ivy Tavern on South Broad Street, or they could
Right.
play Pete's Steakhouse, or they could play,
Yeah.
because when they play their originals, they mix in covers as well, but the majority of the evening is their original music, and people love it
Yeah.
because it's good.
That's how you're gonna get paid.